Anthony Tung from National University Singapore. Once again, he doesn't need any introduction. And I won't tell you something which you cannot find using Google Scholar. Very distinguished scientist in data mining, has been working on data mining for 20 years. If you are young, if you do not know where he comes from, he is a distinguished member of NUS database group. If you do not know NUS database group, let me tell you, they are the one who put Singapore in the data management research map in the world. Okay. I'll share with you something which you cannot Google about it. If you're organizing a conference, you have a banquet and you see him, ask him to come up and sing a song. He can sing in English, Mandarin and Cantonese. And I can guarantee you, he won't disappoint you. Today, of course, he can sing.
In preparation for this, I only have a 5-minute talk. The rest of the 15 minutes, I will give a concert. I'm just joking. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Ram, and thanks, Reno, for inviting me here. I'm going to talk a bit of more general direction of what I'm doing, which is called information on the go. So a short introduction about myself. I am essentially a 4-trick pony. On one hand, I actually started from data mining, working with Professor Jawed Khan. Since 2001, I've been working on things like data mining. So I start from an era where I do data mining and database research, I'm doing database, and up to an era where database research, I'm doing AI, and I'm still doing data mining. I also work on database. Mainly over there, I do things like modeling complex data. How do I convert the raw data into a format which captures the semantic of the data? I use parallel processing to speed up things, and I look at interactive visualization. So just to give you an example of what I do. This is a Singapore map constructed from all the trajectory I collected. This red dot is a car moving, okay? And this is moving along the actual path is a pink color path, okay? And I'm dynamically predicting where it's going by giving the green color trajectories. So as the dot move, I'm not doing deep learning, I do shallow learning on little data, small data. I will take this previous history and look in the database, and I'm looking for a small set of trajectory that behave like that. And I dynamically construct a model, hidden Markov model, to predict the rest of things. So as this dot move, I dynamically putting out historical trajectories and constructing the model on the fly. So of course, I use parallel processing to make this visible. And as it moves, I also insert back the trajectory into the database. So I call it semi-lazy learning because unlike previous model where I actually have a training and a prediction phrase, I'm dynamically reading what you are doing, looking for data and constructing the model on the fly. Okay. So of course, other things like visualization, modeling, all comes. So building on that, I have a grand vision to do on the go, information on the go. Essentially, I want to deliver the right information to the right person at the right time. It can be through chatbot, where you chat to the website and you ask them, I want to travel. So all the websites have a chatbot that actually tell you what is happening. It can be through what you are reading. So by analyzing the things that you read, I dynamically attach information to whatever article you're reading. Or it can be through augmented reality, where I hate shopping, but my wife liked it. So anyway, I just point it at the shopping center. All the things that you want to buy appear at the shop, so I can avoid walking through this big mall all the time. So I will touch a bit on this tool. This one is still under development. So what exactly is AR Shop? To say, AR Shop is actually a type of collaborative social network systems. Okay. We are familiar with the story of the blindfolded man and the elephant. My student, the lady, decided to convert it into a female version, where you have the blindfold lady sharing on social network what the elephant is about. So you do not see only one part of the elephant, but through social network you can actually have the whole picture of the elephant, so that you don't have fake news, you can see only one part of the information. So the problem at this now is that people information on the social network etc. are rather fragmented. Okay? And you actually need to have a science center that actually try to revolve your data around. So the first center that I was looking at was actually the shopping mall. I'm looking at how I can actually attach information about this physical shopping mall, and through augmented reality, you can actually obtain information about comments of the shop, etc., etc. So to save the trouble, let me play a video. So this is an actual website, and we are actually talking to some of the shopping centers to adopt this, in Singapore to adopt this. Essentially, if you are in a mall like this, a lot of time you do not know exactly what shop are selling the things that you want, what are the discounts, etc. So this handsome guy here is forced to be the actor. He's actually my RA, who is now to S. So as the customer, when you go to this place, you are lost. What you want to do is actually just snap a photo maybe at those places, and information will be overlaid dynamically on those things, showing the shops, introducing the products that you want to buy on this photo. So the question is, people immediately say is that I don't want to keep taking photos, right? So we actually have a video version. Of course, a video version will require you to hold your camera and walk everywhere and not meet people. I was waiting for Google Glass to be ready 5 years ago, but after 5 years it disappeared. I don't know where it goes. So, but in any case, so at this stage we are using an overlay where you actually dynamically search for information. There are other things that we do. For example, if you take a photo next to you, it will guide you to places that have the products that you want to sell. So there will be a route finding showing you a list of photos of those things that you want to find. So I think you get the idea here. The idea is that we want to do all this spatial, I also do spatial data, movement in the mall, but making it as simple as possible for the customer so that the information will be on their fingertip. Other things, let me see, fast up next.
Based on tags that were created by users, or is this?
There are two parts. One is the mall owner will take, let's say 2,000 photos. We will give them analytics tool to connect them up, and then we'll add annotations, simple annotation for them to put things in, and then the user will then snap and see this annotation. On the other hand, we also allow users to snap a shop and add annotation on their own. So your friends, if they on Facebook, if they put some annotation, you can actually see that. Of course, you usually put things, bad things, other people will see. So this is a matter of updating annotation about the shop, and then you can actually search for them. Let me quickly skip this. Actually, I should run through the time, right? No. Okay, so the whole thing is about trying to make it easy for mall owners to enrich their space with annotations by taking a lot of photos. So we have an app that have Wi-Fi signal, etc., that allow you to add things. And we actually allow you to put annotation on the image. The nice thing that we do is that for the series of photos, if I found you annotate one photo and there are similar things on other photos, I transfer them and ask whether you can transfer. So you make it easy for you to enrich things along that line. So this is example of what we mean by the elephant. In this case, the shop itself is an elephant where everyone is allowed to share data. So let me give you another example of where I changed the center to a book. Who have seen this type of book before? I assume the front part is more likely to see than the back part. These books are books that usually I get from my senior. When I was students, we like to get second-hand books where seniors give their tips about what is coming up on the exams, etc., etc. So when you see those books, they are cheaper and they have a lot of knowledge inside. On the other hand, nowadays we do not use manual books. We use electronic tools. So that set me thinking on how do I actually make it easily for people to make annotation on books and to transfer them over across electronic books. So let me show you another app. It's called Rip here. So the idea here is that if you are given a PDF or any documents, how do I actually add annotation on it so that it can be shared to others? So for example, you can actually go through the books and see that there are annotation on the side that is relevant to different paragraphs of the books. I can add my own annotations, and it's actually like a Facebook annotation feed, but then this particular annotation is attached to the paragraph of the book. So I can actually even add a video if I want to. And so if you read the top of the book and you can't understand it, people can choose to add an annotation on the book so that you will explain it through a video. So that would be very appealing to the younger generation behind. They don't have the patience to read books. So at that part, they just read the video. That's it. That's it. Other things on the thing, if you give me a book, we will automatically go through a lot of question and answer website, fora, etc., and attach the relevant articles to the record. So in this sense, you don't really, usually you read a book, you don't understand certain things, you type things in Google. So we call this querying by providing the documents, and I enrich the whole book with all the information about that book for you. We can even go to website, allowing you to annotate a paragraph. And then when other people enter the website, they will also see our friend annotation on the website. So if there are fake product, third-party reviews, usually website when they give reviews, they show all the good reviews. But third-party reviews can be transferred through this part of processing. So we have been using this for actually annotation of hospital discharge sheet in the hospital, where the scientists will look at hospital discharge sheet and share some of the annotation like there is potential of drug adverse effect on this patient, so that it can be shared over many different scientists. So one particular aspect of this is that instead of remembering the page number and the book that the text annotation is attached to, we actually remember the paragraph where the annotation is attached to, and index this set of paragraphs. The idea here is that I want my annotation to flow across different platforms, different formats, and different websites. It's quite different from the idea that you send an annotation on the PDF and then you must actually have the PDF to get the annotation. Why is this important? A lot of time we want to keep our private and sensitive documents. You have to respect the copyright of the book, for example. Okay? Or there are certain emails in which you don't share with others. But on the other hand, my annotation can be public. So as long as you have that documents, that copy of documents, the annotation can be transferred over by text matching. Other things, question and A linking, I explained before. We analyze the paragraph and automatically try to link things on Quora, Stack Overflow, and Zhipu, so that as you read the book, you can actually get interesting information about the books. So there can be many applications for education. For example, you can actually customize sending certain information to the students when they read books. Assuming that students still read books nowadays. The other way is you might even have a different way of publishing. So nowadays, books, when you publish, people just pass it everywhere. The problem is whether you can get the book to be free, but you pay a subscription to the author to get enriched information into your books for every month, where they keep feeding information into books for you. So it gives you a different way of publication. So these both examples of the collaborative social network system here essentially rely on a center, where you want a center that is stable in order for things to do. So in Chinese we call it 中用, 不邊之為中, 不以之為用. Cantonese, or maybe even the student will not know Cantonese. So it definitely says that the center must be stable and it must be long-lasting, so that other data can be revolved around it. In this case, the book and and the short space is actually the place where it's stable, and then you revolve the data around it for collaboration. How much time do I have? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? Never mind. So actually there is one part on trajectory analytics, I will skip this. I will go into the foundation that support this. So one of the foundation is something called semi-lazy learning. Okay. For those who know lazy learning, typically you do a KNN and you do some prediction by voting. Okay. In semi-lazy, after I find my KNN or those data that I have, I actually build a model to make my prediction. Let me compare this to closed book and open book exams. In closed book exams, when you do eager learning, you build your model without looking at what you are predicting. So the idea is after building the model, any things that you want to predict, I compare against the model to predict. But in open book exams, you don't study, you don't build model, you bring the books into the exam hall. When the question comes, you start looking for data to answer the questions. The question is, why are we not doing this for machine learning? Why are we still waiting for the question to come? We still build the model first, and then when the question comes, we can't adapt. So the question is, if I see what we want to predict, can I then find the data and build the model to predict instead of doing that as a post-processing? It's not possible in the past 30 years ago, but now with the advanced hardware, why can't I wait to see what to be predicted before I build my model? So eager learning, lazy learning, definitely eager learning have its problem because a lot of times we talk about big data, deep learning, but there are situations in which before you collect enough data for your deep learning, the situation is over and the model changes. So if you want to have very dynamic situation, you have to have a semi-lazy learning where you build your model on the fly rather than do pre-processing. So in certain sense, if you do eager learning, it's a global model dominated by the majority class, for example. So some of the model you build might be dominated. While for local model, I wait for your query to come in and then I pick my data to build my model. So to me, right data is more important than big data. Okay? Quick learning, correct learning is better than deep learning. Why is this fast enough? Well, definitely. A lot of the data that you generate nowadays is actually limited by physical limit. For example, the number of route and speed of car in most places, the number of sensors you can put on your body, and how fast you type, and the number of photos you can take with your camera. So with the correct set of hardware, which by the way is improving all the time, one of these days your data processing power will outgrow your physical limit to the growth in the data. So this is the example I showed just now. This is an example of semi-lazy learning. As you move, I see what happened and then I make my prediction. I will retrieve my data to build the model dynamic. Retrieving, let's say, 100 to 200 trajectory of that nature is in terms of milliseconds. So it's easily doable. So I have been playing so far. The question is, how do I quickly find KNN for so many cars on the fly? So what I have adapted is something called shotgun search and assembler. This is actually a bioinformatic concept where people use to sequence the DNA sequence, but unfortunately Professor Lam is not around already. We will explain shotgun. So the idea is very simple. You have your text, you take 2 grams and remember all those that have a particular 2 grams. When your query comes in, you break them into 2 grams or so, and you just find places where you can match them directly. And in this case, which has the most matching? Just look at the number. Which one appears most often? 1, right? Which is stick, which is very similar to shape. Okay? So in this case, a lot of data over my 15 years of work, I have shown that whether it's tree structure, whether it's graph structure, or whether it's high dimensional images, you can actually break it down into an embedded index search. And what we did was that if this posting list is extremely long, we actually put it in the GPU to do the scan. So this is the posting list listing all the records that have this particular 2 gram whatever, and I will just scan them in parallel. Our performance in that sense actually is outperformed of a lot of other things. And it's a generic index, meaning that if you have a tree or you have a sequence or you have a trajectory, you can use that the same framework to index your data. So that completes my framework. I have Genie, which allows you to do large number of queries, KNN queries on the fly. I will group this KNN set here and use LAN, which build a lot of small parallel model using parallel processing. And then I will aggregate other application or aggregate a model. So for example, just now if I know where all the vehicles are going, then I can actually know where is the traffic jam, let's say 10 minutes of time. Today, traffic situation is such that what you get is a dashboard where you get the present situation of traffic. But it can't tell you that 10 minutes down the road there will be a traffic jam somewhere, or 10 minutes down the road there will not be a traffic jam somewhere. So by the time you say no traffic jam, you arrive there, there's traffic jam. And then what happened is no more useful. So this is called what I call a micro prediction aggregated to a macro prediction. So just to recap, this is what I've done for over the past few years, combining these 4 areas to do information on code. That's all I have. Thanks. Questions? Right? From the students. It's very clear how you. I do fast. That was fine.
Yes. Very interesting talk, thank you. I think one of the questions I forgot, I don't know if it's related to your project, is the choice of the data, right? Because I remember that you mentioned about the right data is more important than the big data, and it's better to do it on demand than do it in the processing. Right. So I think most of the questions here for the big data is how do you choose the right source to use, right? Correct. Can you take some of your opinions about it?
So along that direction, right, we have been looking at other ways of finding KNN. For example, a lot of time KNN is found by using a simple similarity functions. So one of the ways we are looking at is how you can actually do a diverse KNN, looking at neighbor in all your 360 degrees in the high dimensional space. That allows you to sample what is happening around you when the query comes in. Other things that we are looking at is there are other attributes that happen. For example, the trajectory actually have a timing. So we can have more weights to the recent timing data than past data. In fact, I didn't explain that as a trajectory move because I know whether my prediction is right or wrong. I can actually decrease the weight of some of the data because it caused me to build a wrong model. So I'm also dynamically learning which data is reliable at this moment to build my model. So if your trajectory somehow keep getting wrong, right, then those data you use to build your model is definitely something wrong. So you can actually decrease your weight and say that they won't be that important in the future. Okay? The other thing I never explained is that actually we build, because you build so small model. So modern day GPU allow you to build, let's say, 100 small model into the future. So as they go, some of the model have better weights and some of the model decrease in their weight. So I'm dynamically adjusting this model and picking up the best model as I move along as well.
Two possibly naive questions. So one is you're saying that you're looking at the latest, I guess, path to predict the next one. Yeah, but then, I mean, aren't you contributing to more traffic by doing that? You know, like creating, just repeating. You know, like it seems that like you would want to potentially predict other routes. And then the second thing is, I'm curious about your visualization. What do you use? I'm always very impressed by these beautiful visualizations. And then how does it talk to the database? Because obviously you have to.
Okay. So there are some of these things that is being done, right, was, well, obviously you don't want to have too many complications. So what we have to do is to pass my prediction to the car. If you follow my prediction correctly, you don't have to report back to it. So there's no communication until it moves out of my jurisdiction. Okay? So that will reduce the traffic a lot. The other thing is, in Singapore, in 2020, we are going to charge all the car by satellite. So we know your position anyway. Yeah. So the moment you step out of your car park onto the road, you start calculating how much you spend on the road and we charge you with it. So we know your location anyway.
And visualization.
Oh, the visualization, we actually use something simple. It's actually Java. There are a lot of trajectory visualization, also, a lot of general visualization outside that.
So there is no overhead in converting between different data formats.
It's D3.js, so JavaScript, etc. All these are just dynamic. I understand, of course, that there is a big area of interactive visualization where the data is at the back end and all the setting and all these things. But those are quite independent because from here, it's actually a control center monitoring the situation. So the visualization is the same size as well.
Any more questions? Anthony, just one, in the read period, how do you handle conflict again? I mean, user A may have an annotation which is opposite of user B.
We will have all the social media things where we rank the things, so there's like and like and things like that. So the ranking is a different issue altogether. So typically we can adopt that whatever you use for social media. Of course, I agree that there might be people who say this shot is nice, other people who say this cannot. But then that opens up to you understanding which user and who are the similar user on. For example, if you have one thing this app allows you to access your social network sites, right? Because it's an app. So from there you can actually look at the social network and see what are the users that are in the same property, they are likely to have the same preference, so your annotation should be high. So all the things are fine.
Any final questions? All right, let's thank Anthony again.